Open hip-hop cookie shop is creating a buzz, but not in a good way. Items Scott Sandoval takes us into this cookie shop and takes a deep dive and tells us why the business is in hot water.
Cookie Plug's opening week was anything but sweet, with some Hoosiers calling their marketing strategy racist or misappropriating Black culture.
Those comments are hurtful, so I'm not even watching it.
Doreen Waters and her husband Michael opened up a cookie shop on Mass Avenue. It's a California franchise called Cookie Plug. It has graffiti on the walls, hip-hop references, and phrases and slang usually associated with drugs.
Me selling cookies, that's all we're doing.
But the details are there, from boxes with money and references like, "Thank you for supporting your neighborhood dough dealer," cookies called Fatties, and a drink called Purple Drink.
I mean, I grew up during this time, and I never have done drugs. Purple Drink is just that. It's a purple drink. It's lemonade.
But for people who grew up with hip-hop culture, Purple Drink was a reference to a deadly drug mix some rappers would drink.
When the franchisee is not aware of what these what the terminology is dealing with, and to be honest, tropes that are used as gimmicks to sell people lemonade and sell children lemonade, that is absolutely a problem.
Foray Phillips is speaking up because hip-hop is synonymous.
Okay, so y'all just saw that news clip right there. And this one right here, this is another news clip, but I'm not going to play it. I'll probably leave the link if anyone wants to watch it. This is from another location, and they're basically on there trying to say the same thing that was previously said on the other clip. Now, this was tagged to me by one of my subscribers. I had no clue about this place. I didn't even know this place even existed until today. And I'm just going to come right out and flat right say it. Yes, this is definitely cultural appropriation. Again, the same, it's like wash, rinse, repeat. These individuals, the usual suspects, the colonizer, is using FBA culture in order to promote themselves, and then when it's called out, then we're supposed to just be quiet about it. Like, y'all just got a glimpse of the atmosphere that they were creating or trying to create. I think what got me more than anything was the double cup. When I saw that double cup, I'm like, I remember seeing that when I was in college, and we usually know what went in those double cups. The two big cups, you had one to hold it and another one on top of it. Like, yeah, we definitely saw it. The woman calling the purple drink lemonade. First off, the grape drink is not lemonade. It's really not. It's never been. It never will be. And then you look at their menu and you look at all of the other stuff like that. Again, everything that they try to say is negative with us. They come right behind it with their plot and scheme and then do something like this. It's funny because when I did a Freestyle Friday, the Freestyle Friday, as a matter of fact, that I did for the month of May, the last Friday of May, and we were talking about microphone check in hip hop. We were saying how the biggest consumers of hip hop, whether people want to believe it or not, happen to be white males, usually in their teens. Those are your biggest consumers of hip hop. And then I was mentioning about a Kendrick Lamar concert where you can look out into the crowd and there was a lot of white people that were there, both men and women, boys and girls, and how they turned beet red when they found out Travis Scott was not going to be in attendance because he was one of the openers. So yeah, they can claim that hip hop is this, that, and the third, but they be some of the ones consuming that, this, that, and the third, and then creating businesses like this. Now, if a black person or black people was to come up with something like this, they would clown them or saying, why are you promoting this type of culture, or why are you promoting this to your own people? Like, what's wrong with you? Why don't you open this type of spot? And let's not sit here and lie and pretend that they wouldn't do that, because that's exactly what they would do. That is exactly what they would do. They would berate that black person and tell them they're silly for even coming up with something like this. Like, what's wrong with you? Now, what I found to be very interesting about this was finding out who the founder was. So you see this guy right here by the name of Eric Martinez. He's the founder of this place called the Cookie Plug. And also, I didn't even think about the name Cookie Plug. We know what a plug is associated with, and we're not talking about putting something into your wall in order to power something on or to charge something up. We know exactly what that is. The fact that they even called it Cookie Plug and then associated with hip hop, we know exactly what that is. I don't have to go into too much detail. But the founder is a man by Eric Martinez. Remember, for the longest time, especially on social media, you've had a lot of people who are, Puerto Rican, Dominican, or Mexican, even especially right now, trying to claim that they contributed to the founding of hip hop. Of course, that all got put to bed even before Tariq came out with Microphone Check. What are the odds that this goes controversial this right here happens right around the time Microphone Check comes out, or right around the time that Kendrick and Drake's beef is going on? Now, keep this in mind, y'all. This place is not new. This place actually is about 2 years old. It got started, I believe, in 2022. So it's been around for about a little over or around 2 years. But it's just now people are starting to find out about what this place is and starting to call it out. And again, for some, it just falls on deaf ears. I've seen some of the comments on X from the person who posted the video that y'all saw at the beginning of this video, and telling that person, it was a black man, telling him, to just get over it, stop complaining, or you're just upset because you didn't come up with the idea first. I've seen the comments. And it didn't even only come from white people. It came from other black people too, telling him the same thing. But then again, on social media, it could be a white person running that account. You just never know. But then again, it obviously could be that black person as well, telling this other black man to just basically what Lord Ingram told LeBron James, and that was to just shut up and dribble. Going back to what I was saying, if a black person comes up with this, then it's a problem. But here you have the founder, Eric Martinez, who we know is not a black man, who founded the spot. But if you want to know what's even more interesting about this, even though we know this is the founder of the company, is finding out who is the CEO of the company. And that's this man right here. Yes, this man's name is Chris Weiland. He is the current CEO of Cookie Plug. So we have I don't know how to identify Chris Martinez, but Eric Martinez, but we're gonna say, south of the Bordarian, and a white man, a south of the Bordarian founder, and a white CEO. So you can create something or come up with something to appropriate black people or black culture or hip hop culture, a culture that many of them like to shun all the time, but really they enjoy. Clearly they do, especially if they're making a quick dime off of it. But you would never put someone in a higher position who actually looks like a representative of the culture. You'll probably have them work for you, because when I was looking at some of the images, there were black people that were working there, but they won't have them in a higher up position. Gee, I wonder why. Kind of reminds you of the NFL, right? You have all the players on the field, most of them being black. You only have a small handful of black coaches. But then when you start to move a little bit higher up, it starts to look very pale. Kind of like what you see on your screen right now. Very interesting indeed, but also at the same time not so surprising. Now, imagine when black people start to create or open up different spots where they are talking about or creating something that's outside of just making soul food, since that's what they typically like to have black people just relegated to, and they start tapping into other things. Then what they gonna say then? I remember during the pandemic, I had went to this restaurant called the Black Dragon, and it was spelled BLAQ Dragon. And it was a black, and as far as I know still is, a black owned Chinese carryout spot. Y'all should have seen the line for that spot. Now, of course, during the pandemic, we couldn't go inside and stay in the establishment because social distancing. So we had to wait in our cars and then wait for them to text us and tell us our order was ready. I went in there to get my order. I placed it maybe a couple days in advance because it was more like a pop-up at the time. And I had to wait almost an hour for my food because the orders were overflowing. It was so many people that ordered on that day where the orders were available for you to go and get your food. A black-owned Chinese spot. And the crazy part about it is there are actually a lot more out there. You just have to find them. Then you have the actual Chinese carryouts that plant themselves in black neighborhoods because they can't get the funding to go into white neighborhoods. Imagine that. And now you have this. Now look at this here. This is actually from their website. This is the banner where you come onto their website. So you come on here right now and it says Cookie Plug. Now look at what it says in the byline. Cookie Plug slangs the fattest and thickest cookies on the block. Slangs, we know what that means too. That all goes back to, that's all part of the plug. We serving the dopest, even look at how they're writing this. We serving the dopest cookies in these streets. I'm surprised they didn't say these streets. There's nothing cookie cutter about us. Cookie Plug slangs the most unique stacks the streets has to offer. Fat, thick, and addicting. We baking up fresh stacks daily at every location and are also available for delivery. Just look at how that's even written. Going back to how we talk. Remember at one point they say, why do you talk like that? Why do you sound so ghetto? Why do you sound so hood? Why can't you just speak with the King's English? Remember I did a live stream about Xavier Legette down in South Carolina getting drafted and how they kept saying he was so uneducated with how he spoke, and I need a translation because I didn't understand what he was saying. We know what they were trying to say, but we knew what he was understanding what he was saying. But look at this right here. Would they call this acting ghetto? Would they say writing this or doing this is uneducated? No, they would just say, oh, that's just them marketing. This is actually pretty genius. Why didn't I think of it? Or something like that. And they know they would. We aren't dumb, and they like to play dumb. Like I said, if a black person came up with this right here, they would have all kinds of ish to say about it. But because it's them, it's considered trendy. It's called next level or whatever they think they can come up with. I'm actually glad that there are people online right now that are calling this out for what it is. Will this affect their business? I'm not entirely sure. The best thing that I could tell black people when it comes to something like this is if you have not been to their spot before, don't go to it. That's really all you can do, is just not support them. Of course, they're going to still get support from other people. This is probably giving them promo, to be quite honest, because a lot of people who don't like black people to begin with, they're going to take their money and they're going to go find a way to spend it with them. So they're probably looking at this as just free promo anyway. That doesn't mean we have to support it. So at this point, it is what it is. But I'm just glad that a light is actually being spotlighted on this. And the crazy part about it is there are several more places out there that are not this establishment that are just like it. And they don't care. That's the other thing. Many of them simply don't give a damn about what it is that they're doing, even though what they know they're doing isn't right. Now, what if black people came right behind them and decided they was going to open up an establishment, much like I was talking about with this location called the Black Dragon, and started using or started mocking Asian culture or Chinese culture? Or if they wanted to open up like a Mexican spot and started mocking them. then what? Here's the thing. They could have opened up a cookie spot like this and didn't even have to do all of that. But they did it anyway. And then, I can't believe I forgot to say it, but in the clip, when you had the woman had the quote unquote purple drink in the baby bottle. Like I said, the jokes practically write themselves.